Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've heard several times you mention one of your increased costs that was a surprise to you was in the area of the workers' compensation premium or your workers' compensation charge for the self-insurance fund. That being part of my background, it certainly piqued my interest as to what's going on. So staff was kind enough to give me the workers' compensation rate charges for 2015-16 and also 2016-17, and clearly the 25% rate increase that you're being charged, which I guess has generated a 28% increase in your costs in that line item, are significant. And I noticed in your October press release that you cited that. You said, additionally, the Commonwealth's new insurance examiner determined the Commonwealth as a whole had been insufficiently contributing to its self-funded workers' compensation liability and increased the total liability for the fund by $160.5 million to $861 million. So just so the members know, that's about a $700 million increase that will be spread across all the departments, and I'm not sure if that's over what period of time that is, but that's coming out of taxpayers' pockets as well. So we talked briefly before the hearing when I introduced myself to you and said that this was a concern of mine, and I think it's a concern of yours. If you could speak to that a little bit, and then if we could maybe work together to dig a little deeper over the next couple months to determine why this is happening.
Thank you for the question, Representative Mustio. When we received that surprise accrual in the fall, we did not know that was coming. We had anticipated a pension increase and had built that into our accruals all through last fiscal year, but we didn't know this workers' comp was going to change. In fiscal year 13-14, our costs were $4.7 million for the agency. Last year, we knew it was going to go up. The Commonwealth had changed the percentage that we were going to be allocated. We went from 4.7 to 7.8 million. That was our plan. We knew we were going to get a big increase, and that's what we thought where it was going to be based on the percentage. As they changed out the third-party administrator that does this, and they revalued the long-term liability from the 700 to the 861, of course, then that exacerbated, that increase was on a much bigger number. So we got a $19 million accrual surprise in the fall, which we had no idea was coming. This year, we've ramped up again because we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the year. We don't have that information yet. The comptroller does not have that information yet. We've ramped up again our rate of accrual without really knowing where it's going to end up. So it's something that's extremely frustrating. I think we had the earlier discussion about the 10-year projection. We provided that last year. We thought that's the right way to approach a business, try to project, but when these types of things happen, it kind of blows out of the water your ability to project that. So to your last point, sir, we very much would like to work with you to get this addressed because it's not something that we can continue to have.
And if I may add, if you do the math, it's $5,000 an employee for workers' comp.
Right. And
Yep.
I made the point with the Auditor General the other day that these rates are astronomical in compared to what's out there in the private sector. Now, granted, there may have been some under-reserving in the past, right, that for whatever reason, but I think those things need to be investigated. And, Mr. Chairman, it may be an opportunity to discuss whether or not we should have a hearing specifically on this issue because it is a $700 million hit that's coming out of nowhere. And all of the departments are basically saying the same thing. We really haven't had that many claims. Where's the justification for this? And it seems that some of the departments are being charged for other departments. At least you're getting a piece of what they're doing, their claim activity. So it's either there's an increase in the number of claims, the reserves were intentionally decreased in prior years for whatever reason we would need to determine that, or the outside vendor made improper calculations before, or the new vendors making improper calculations. But we need to follow that money and determine what's happening so that we can be confident again in what we're doing for the taxpayers. So it wasn't necessarily a question, but it was just a request that we try to work together to bring some light on the subject.
Absolutely.
It's a big one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.